the last thing that they do is, well, we first got to talk about ball contact zone. What's the ball contact zone? The ball contact zone basically is you have an expected ball contact position where you say, well, I'm going to try and line it up with the center line here. I want to make ball contact here. But ball contact's a bit out of your control because at the last minute, a couple main things can perturb your ball contact. Spin, ball spin, and wind. If you see the ball coming and all of a sudden there's a gust of wind that pushes it toward you, it'll arrive sooner, and instead of making contact here, the ball gets here before your racket does, and you'll make contact further back. So you're making late contact. So when the ball arrives early, your contact is late. You should be making here, you should have gotten all the way to here, but you're late getting the racket to the ball, and so you're making late contact. The other thing is, if you have a headwind on the ball, a gust of wind pushing the ball this way, it'll slow down, and your racket gets to here, and the ball's not arrived yet. The ball's late. So you make contact for the front, and so you're making contact early. You should have waited until here, but you got all the way to here, you're making contact early. So there's this ball contact zone, plus or minus from your expected ball contact. This zone in which you can be making contact, and you got to make sure that the racket is rising and vertical in this zone. And so the last thing the pros do is they make sure that's true. How do they do that? There's two things that they don't do. Number one is, as they're going through this zone, they don't roll the racket face over. The other thing is they don't do this. They don't like swing it like a door through the zone. That has two obvious effects. One is if you're doing this sort of thing, if you're rolling it over, if you make contact at the back of the zone, you hit the ball up. If you make contact at the front of the zone, you hit the ball down. That's not a very effective way to play tennis. Only if you're just really lucky and you manage to time it here and make ball contact here, do you get the proper stroke. Same thing applies to this. If the ball gets there sooner than you expect, your racket is pointed off to the right, and you may hit it wide to the right. If the ball comes slower than you expect and you make contact here, you're hitting off to the left and maybe hit it wide to the left. So you don't want to do this, and you don't want to do this. Well, what do you want to do? What do the pros do? What the pros do is they do this. They tip the racket up, and you notice when I do that, the racket stays vertical. Okay.